DEQ.
And he turns everything over to DEQ, and he says that I'm in violation of DEQ, so he can't come out to the place and he can't give us a license to operate. So I went to the 3 meetings now in Red Lodge, the commissioner's hearing with the new sanitarian, and she told me to hire an engineer. I hired an engineer, and we're trying to work to get these issues resolved.
Okay.
But the main problem is, for 3 months I had no sewage, and my tanks are not approved to hold sewage. The sewage is, the line is, when was that line broke? 7 years ago?
Yeah.
6 years ago, 7 years ago. Line was broke quite a while ago. In the winter, the line freezes. So I have no sewage, can't get it over to you. We went through pump after pump. It comes back into my pump. We've caged our pumps. We put alarm systems on our pumps. Every year during the winter, it's costing me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So this year, we just decided to go without sewage for 3 months, and we paid to have our sewage picked up at $500 a shot every 2 weeks. And
Okay, so this is the resolution that I was talking about, was 320, the Cronberg County Council has proposed to annex the following tract, which was just Aldo's Bar at the time, 2-point-some acres. It was
Yeah.
signed by James Cameron, and Elroy Ness was the clerk, but
I've
it
got
wasn't filed with the county. And the clerk has sent me this, and she said, attached please find the plot of 005288 AM and resolution 320. Although the resolution is dated 1995, it was only filed with us last fall. This was sent on April 16th, 2018. And it was filed by Brenda.
that Brenda did file ours. But Aldo's
Has her
resolution,
signature on it.
because if you look at his resolution really quick, I have it right here. In here, it states exactly what I was talking about how it had to be in the paper for 2 weeks, how it had to be voted on. It says it right here in the resolution, and that's why they said that it wasn't ever put, because they never received your paper articles and everything. That's the original one. When you put that resolution in, back in that date, you didn't file it with everything. It had to be filed for a commercial business. That's why it was never filed. It says right there of all the things you had to have. When I asked you for those things, you said you were gonna get them to me. I got a letter from you here back in,
Right, and I.
they don't
couldn't find it,
exist.
so-
They don't exist.
No, I know, but that's why I didn't, I called you several times and I couldn't get through to you, so, yeah. Because when we had talked before about.
I told you before
the-
you got elected that the annexation isn't,
Right, and we had talked several months before
Yeah.
that, and you were gonna get me some information, and I got in touch with DEQ, and then I couldn't get back with you. I called several times and left messages. I needed copies of things for DEQ, and I needed.
well, I wasn't getting much from that Josh because he refused to take any phone calls from me
Yeah,
or my
think-
husband
I don't
for
know where he went,
how many
but,
years. He got fired.
yeah, and all this back in, was signed by Renee Shanks, so,
That's all the originals.
Yeah.
Even from the day they had the meeting on it, and that's what
Could
they
you-
required.
give Jan, after we're done here, let her make copies of those.
Yeah.
Because I went through,
These are the originals. And this is
I
what,
didn't-
this is
I
what
couldn't
my
find
lawyer
anything
got
about it.
from wherever he got them from, so.
yeah, well, we need to take care of this mess.
Either way we look at it, so, I mean, if it's the case, if we're supposed to be annexed in, we've got sewage out to the street. We've got sewage all the way down to, where is that, right in front of Beekler's? We got sewage all the way down to right in front of Beekler's, it needs to be fixed. I mean, that's not our property, we don't have an easement, and don't even think you do. It's the next problem.
They broke that line when they put that telephone cable in, when they were doing all that boring.
Oh, for the fiber optics
Fiber
thing,
optics,
yeah.
when they came through it, they drilled into
That was
that.
way back,
Way back, they
God,
broke the
when?
line,
that was 2006 or
Yeah.
something.
they broke the line, they come in and they tried to make a repair. Well, they didn't get it done, it was a mud hole. They came in again and said they had it fixed. Well, it isn't fixed, because if you look there, there's water standing there year round. It's right in the bar ditch, right in the bottom of the bar ditch, you can't miss it.
Okay.
But it was never actually ever fixed right.
So we-
And you guys, next thing you gotta do is go ahead and the easement that was filed on this for you guys to get over to there was in 1961. You haven't updated it since, so you have no easement for that borrow ditch. That's all I
A lot
have.
of can of worms.
What do we do now? Hope that if we have no easement to get over there,
You have to get one.
Yeah. And we have to have both parties sign, everybody.
How did they get the water to the bar to begin with?
I think they just put it in. I don't think anybody contacted the state, they just figured they'd go right down the bar ditch. Cause it was, the old sewer line was down there, and they just put the darn thing in. They never did get an easement, an actual easement.
I've been dealing with this for
Now,
a lot
is
of
this
years,
on-
so.
Baker's property or
No,
some
the bar
state
ditch, all,
property?
it's
On the
on the
highway.
state highway, at the bar ditch.
Yeah.
Goes
So
right down,
everything's on the state,
it's in the bar ditch, yeah.
It's on state right of way?
So they dug it, and the state didn't come
Put
rolling
it in,
around.
yeah, they just put it in. No easement at all.
I remember when they did it.
The
And now you know,
water-
and now you know why I have
Yeah,
10 years extra of wrinkles and
yeah.
65% gray hair.
But Aldo wanted water and sewer. And
Yes,
the
I
town just-
remember that,
And I'm
yeah.
sure he paid for putting that water line in.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
The city, Renee probably said, well, you go ahead, you put it in, you pay for it, that's fine. So they just dug the water line in and,
Yeah, 2002,
yeah, went way back.
well,
Yeah,
not that far back.
well, 2002, yeah, that's bad.
Well, especially when you didn't have it since what I think it was, 60, 1960?
1961.
That's way back.
A little bit back there.
we,
I
so your
remember
water line, the sewer
1961.
line and everything runs down state property and then comes into your place.
And the engineer wants to know how far apart they're running and all the details for that, because for a commercial building, naturally, the engineer needs to know this, and that's
Knowing the
what,
way they probably did it, because they're probably all in the same hole.
Probably did, they probably dug one ditch and,
Put it all
that's
in
the way,
there.
that's the way they did it back then.
So in
But
order
that's
to
illegal,
straight,
especially for
yeah,
commercial.
I mean, I-
straighten the mess up, then we have to, our
I didn't ask for any of this, you know
our
what I'm
sewer
saying?
line.
I
Neither
put in,
did I.
I put in everything they asked me to put in. I thought everybody was above board, like Hope said, I came over here and asked to be annexed in. I had all good intentions. I was told that if I wanted city, town water and sewage, I have to be annexed in. He might have made me some promises that I thought we had cleared up in this stuff, but maybe, you know, that's not true, but I put in the curb stops, everything is there. Now, what do you guys want to do?
Wouldn't this be something that would have been covered in your contract with the previous owners? That everything was up to date and above board?
That's why when we
A
went
disclosure.
to get our title insurance, they found out right away we weren't annexed in.
But there was no
The,
disclosure in
the
your
previous
your
owner was
buy-sell?
not annexed in. They were not annexed in.
Are you talking about the
The
house
minutes,
property or
State
the?
your claim.
Stake Your Claim was never annexed in. So that's when we went there, he says that they're not annexed into the town of Fromberg. You can't put town of Fromberg because they're not annexed into the town of Fromberg.
And that's exactly what this resolution
So I
says, that
came-
it was annexed in 1961 with Aldo, but wasn't filed until 2016 or something
Yeah,
like that. or-
when we filed it.
50 years late.
Yeah,
I don't know. But when, you know, it came to the town asking for annexation, I went and cleared up the annexation part to include the whole property. Is that correct?
We paid for the survey
Yeah.
and
And-
everything, and we thought we were legal. I mean, until the health department came out.
Well, I know that there was a wrinkle, and I referred you, or the town referred you to the county planner, because you wanted to put those cabins in.
Right,
And then they started talking about, well, with you, because the town just referred you to the planner because
Yeah.
they control the
Yeah.
subdivision. And if you were gonna put the cabins in, that might create a subdivision land
yeah,
or a different use and.
It doesn't matter if anything, they're saying anything over, I think it was 15 or 20 people. Anything over 15, the whole 15 or 20 people is considered commercial. Any way you look at it. So it wouldn't matter if unless I can keep that place down to under 15 people, including everybody that works there, anybody that come, you know. I mean, I can't monitor, you know.
I did tell the council at the time of annexation, according to the ordinances, that there might be a problem with the zoning, because anything coming in has to be residential, zoned residential. And I brought that to the council's attention, and nothing happened with it.
Well, after this, I got denied on the bakery that they wouldn't come out. And, I called Mr. Anderson, talked to him on the phone, and, he swore up and down that he never did the annexation. He said he didn't do the annexation, a mistake, and it was done before he came back into office. And he said I'll find no paperwork that he ever did the annexation.
I did it in 2013. I don't know if that's before he came in, back in.
Richard
No, he
Anderson
was
read
there.
the annexation because I have the minutes here from the meeting.
I have an acting mayor on the signature line of the intent to.
Right, yeah, so I have the minutes here from the
So-
meeting, and it says right here with the
It's a
resolutions,
big mess.
and he actually read it in, so as much as he said he didn't, this was the actual minutes from that meeting. And it says right there what they talked about.
We need a copy of that too, please.
Okay.
But all that stuff that we've done, all of that resolutions and all of that, we got hoodwinked somewhere,
And
big time.
I've got
Especially
paperwork,
me.
all the original paperwork, so
I
it's
don't like
like,
that.
they can take out and do whatever they want. I've got all the original paperwork for everything that I was promised, and letters from him and everything, so,
Okay.
I mean, I don't wanna go there, but you guys decide.
Well, we're going to have to find a way to fix all this, that's for sure. I mean, we just,
What do we have to do, go back and,
Well,
find a
actually,
horse
we're
to
gonna
pull
need to
wagon
have-
backwards
I think
to
we're
get the
gonna have to
easement and
need-
go from there?
Well, what you can do, if you want, you can get the easement in the town's name. You already have a water line there.
Yeah.
Take that over and make that a water main instead of a water service. And you have the water service, or water main right to the property line.
right,
So we
That's
need,
one thing you can
but,
do.
we need to hook up to 3 different hookups.
Two, that's all I was promised.
That, the house and the.
The house,
and the
okay, the
bar.
house is going up for sale June 1st, it needs its own water
Yeah, so
line.
the house and then the bar and the cabins would be under
A separate one, and there's
So
3
there
curb
is-
stops out there.
3 stops.
That's
but
what Mike
you
made
need
us
2
put in.
services.
That's because of the ordinance that says you have to have a separate curb stop for each building.
Right,
Yeah.
So supplying that line out there, you'd be able to, then it'd be the property line, and then it'd be trenched to those curb stops, correct?
right.
But whose property are we gonna go, you
Or
know?
we're gonna have to get that easement back.
You have to get this, if you get the easement from the state, you just leave the water line there.
Yeah, how big
and
a water line
that's
is it?
gonna be the
I have
problem,
no idea.
yeah.
How much water do you guys, do you have much pressure down there?
Well, we're pretty much, I mean, I think I've run all my, the house is gonna be sold, and, we've got a buyer for the restaurant, and I'm thinking if I can't get it solved one way or the other, we're gonna close it down until, because, I mean, I've gotta, DEQ's up my butt.
Well, what I'm wondering is, for the size of the water line, you know, if it's a 1-inch line going there and splitting it off 3 ways.
Well, the cabins I'm selling off, they're gonna be gone, I'm not sure what the new owners are gonna do, but,
But you don't have any problem with the water pressure right now for
No.
the bar and the house together.
mm-mm.
So it's probably bigger than the 1-inch line.
I don't know what's that.
I would
Yeah,
assume,
I don't know how big the line is.
I would assume.
Well, whoever, Calavic's put the line in, right? So we can get the specs from them.
Yep, Sam Calvick put the lines in, he put the curb stops in, he
Right,
put everything
sewer
in, we
line and
paid for that whole
everything,
thing.
Yeah,
So, like I said, it was $240,000, so
so we can get all those specs from him.
there's a lot of money in pipe. They wanted that, what is that called, that, black pipe that they wanted on?
Oh, that new
The flex
flex,
pipe?
yeah.
That expensive pipe, we had to put all
Yeah, the
that in,
flex, yeah.
through the whole
Yeah, the new
thing.
flex stuff.
Yeah,
He wanted all those, metals, whatever, silver fittings and all that stuff was super expensive.
oh, for the brass, yeah, brass fittings is more.
I mean, I think we,
I'm sorry, Tammy, but we're not taking any comments from,
the bill was $500 and some $1,000, or no, $537 or something, a curb stop. That was
Yeah, it was.
$1,500 right there, just in curb
It's
stops.
expensive,
Yeah.
It was expensive.
and they even cost more now,
The
so.
lift stations, you know, we had to redo the lift station, I put in I don't know how many pumps with the backups and stuff.
Well, if the lift station's not gonna work, if it's not gonna pump it through the
Well, it
line.
freezes, the
It
line
freezes, so
and
then it blows my pumps, and
It
it
backs
also puts trash in, because
Overloads
there's
the
stuff in the
pump.
hole, there's stuff.
Oh, it's not.
So now we
So
caged
if
our
you-
pumps, we put alarm systems on them, my pump guy, my guy that does my pumps, I know him, we're best friends, I mean, he comes and stops in the restaurant and is, he knows me so well.
So our sewers
So
were
is
put
it
in with
freezing up
backflow.
on your property or on the
They
city
figure down where
property?
it's leaking,
What's that?
down where it's leaking is what they figure.
And that's outside your property?
Mhm.
It's by Beekler's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In front of Beekler's. And Mike, you know, pretty much worked on it, I mean, he always worked on it, and, you know, kept us running pretty good, but he's not here no more, so.
Yeah, from what I've heard from other sources, is that when they view that drain, when you're at the same time that you're having trouble with freezing, the city stuff's running freely. So I don't understand.
Because it's open. If a gas line, the way our engineer describes it, if a gas line is under pressure, there's gas in there. So it keeps it warm because there's gas in there. When that line is cracked, you're letting cold air get in there.
Yeah.
So the rest of the city might be going great, but their line is all under pressure because there's gas in the line. Our line is cracked. There's no pressure, no gas in there.
And that's from them puncturing it
Yeah,
on
see,
that.
it's only a 2-inch line, because the grinders that she has, it
Pressurized.
grinds it in them tanks, she's got a tank and it goes in, this grinders,
Mhm.
grinds everything, same thing we have down
Sends
there.
it out
we'll
under
do.
pressure.
The
And then
sewer
just-
line is only a 2-inch line,
From
who
the
in the
gr-
hell did that?
Well, it's
Well,
just
it's-
liquid.
That's all I
Yeah,
need.
it's
Everything
just
is,
pumping
we're
water.
paying for everything.
It's
All our
just-
solids and all
everything's
our
under pressure.
grease is
It's just
picked
like a
up
jet
at our
pump.
restaurant.
Right, and it's,
And we paid for that to be picked up.
Through your
Yeah.
disposals.
It's just
and
like
then
a jet
goes
pump.
down.
It's
Okay,
paid up, it's picked up.
Right,
When I didn't have water and sewage, he had to pick it up every 2 weeks, and it's $500 a pop, because he passed the pump,
right.
the sewage lines and the grease traps.
So we have backflow preventer on our sewer line that goes into your property.
Oh, I don't know.
I have no idea what they got down there.
Well, yeah,
Should.
I
yes.
checked that and we do have, there is a backflow preventer
Okay.
that goes in there, so
In case the
that's
line,
why.
the
our
city line backs
right.
up, it's not gonna run into yours.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Well, he's saying when the line swells, when, like say it's under, it freezes, and then you know how like when something thaws out, it starts to swell, it goes
Mhm.
backwards.
Mhm.
So it's probably the stuff
Well,
in the
your-
line,
your
not the
line-
stuff.
Is probably one that's froze up, broke, and it's not functional.
No,
Because
I
if we
think,
had any
I
issues
think
with the
that,
city line, then everybody on this side of town would have a problem. Because everything runs down there,
Yeah,
And then
it
back.
goes under the rail, yeah.
yeah, this whole side of town.
so I think that where
Screwy way
where
it's set
that
up.
crack is, where the break is probably above
It's in
your
Beekler's
property, it's on Beekler's property, and that's why it's freezing up, and so I guess we need to find out how deep that line is.
We can find out if we can dig down
Well, we can find from
for
Sam.
somebody, because it's,
Find from Kelby's how deep they
Yeah,
put it in.
and where it's at.
We don't have to dig, we need to check with them and find out.
because if it's on state
Get our
property,
easement,
then we
go
gotta
for
figure
it.
out
Yeah.
whether they're gonna let
Get it
us.
fixed.
It's
Yeah,
on state
because-
property. I get
It definitely is, and it looks like you guys didn't get anything to update your easement in a while.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk to the state too, because they may not want that there, and we may have to move it.
They've already improved their highway, so I don't think they'll have a problem.
I'm sure. That's just-
You just have to get a excavation and encroachment permit in order to.
Yeah.
What's the timeline on the need for the supply at the house?
I'm putting the house up for sale in June. And then, you know, we've gotta tell our lawyers something, because either way, we're gonna try, you know, I'd rather not go to a lawyer, I'd rather just work it out with you guys, to be honest with you. Because if we go to a lawyer, he's already told me what's gonna happen is, if he finds out that you guys aren't annexed into the town, and it goes, and it, you know, it goes all the way, You guys will have to pay back everything you got paid in gaming. You don't want that. You seriously don't want that.
Okay.
So he's pretty sure of his facts, and he's been in touch with DEQ, and if we can leave lawyers out of it, it'd probably be for the best of all of us. He's already told me, by the time everybody gets done being paid back and stuff like that, I won't get a penny out of it, so all I'm gonna be is lawyer's fees out. And I've already spent enough money on the property, so if you work with me, that'd be great. I'd like to, but we gotta get it right, because I've got engineers and everybody that they sigged on me to answer to, including my husband, who won't be spending more money.
Well, I think the consensus is that we need to take this,
What's your take on it?
Yeah, so.
I have seen no agreements or anything as far as what happened between Mayor Anderson,
What do you mean, what agreements?
as far as any side agreements, as far as what they were gonna.
There doesn't have to be any side agreements, he didn't pay for anything.
No, between you, when you sat down with Mayor Anderson and the agreements there, because all I have are the annexation paperwork
Right.
and the intent to annex and the service plan that was required as part of it. Okay?
Right.
And
So what do we have to do to get it to where we can legally make sure that that line meets up with her property, so we can hook up to them 3 hookups?
you could hook up to the 3 hookups.
They can hook up to them right now.
Unless
That's at the end
DEQ
of
is
the
saying,
easement,
no, you
we can
can't.
do that.
I was gonna say, cause then you just tap right in and go to it, and the meter would be after that, so then you could register each one.
So what do you do about the fact that you've got the government kind of with their foot on your neck with all these regulations?
I don't know, I told them pretty much, the people that, new owners that wanna buy it are well aware of the problems, and if we can get water and sewage to them, they're gonna try to work, I'm gonna try to get everything resolved with
Everything out.
DEQ. Or if I can't get the problems resolved with sewer and waters, we'll just go ahead and close it down and then keep it closed until we can solve the water and sewage issues, one way or another. If you can provide us with water and sewage, you can. If you can't, then there's no use us being annexed in, and no use you having us annexed in, because there's nothing we can do for each other.
Right.
We've already got the cost of, we've talked to the guy, the engineer's been out there, he's talked to us about holding tanks, he's talked to us about wells and with holding tanks, and there's a lot of, so you're talking about a lot of money, it's more money than we wanna spend, the place isn't worth it.
Because of the water table out there, wells and septic tanks would not be feasible
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, and that's what he's saying, and if you're in so many feet of a municipal, whether you're annexed in or not, you have to hook up to that for sewage. He's looked at everything, he's talked to this curb stop guy, wasn't very impressed with him, and, so he's just waiting to figure out what's the next step, where do we wanna go with it. We can't have a sewage, our tanks are not approved to hold sewage, so if we can't have sewage in the winter, our tanks are not approved to hold. He'll work with me on engineering the whole thing, if we can get sewage out of the building, he'll work with me on everything else and improve my tanks, and, we get a separate water line coming in, and, he'll work with me, but we're paying him, so. That's what DEQ wants.
50-some years of dropped balls, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible.
So it
Kinda
looks to
shoddy.
me like it would really be good for the town to have it annexed in, because that'd be a pretty good source of income for you.
No, we don't wanna lose her.
Huh?
Yeah, we don't
No,
wanna
we
lose
don't.
that.
You'll
You're
lose,
losing it.
gaming, you'll lose lottery, and
Everything.
you'll lose
That
the
would be
income off
stupid
the
of us.
property. That property
That's pretty
is
lucrative.
appraised at $300,000. You'll lose the income off the property, you'll lose the tax assessment off the
No.
restaurant, you'll lose
We don't
lottery.
wanna do
Well, we
that.
don't wanna lose the business too,
Yeah.
we need every business we can get in this
You
town.
just
Absolutely.
can't operate
Absolutely.
I know,
as a
but
business like that. There's no way. We've been hiccuping it, and we just can't do it.
So what's our first step?
Well, I think we need to find out what it's gonna take to get, number one, that supply, the water supply to that residence in a quick manner, so she can get that thing sold. And then we need to, don't we need to
We gotta
talk
have
about
the
that?
sewer.
Yeah, we need to
Well, we'll
talk about the
actually need
easement.
to talk to state agencies also.
You
Right.
need, yeah, you need to talk to somebody, I mean,
If
I,
they
I'm,
own the land and we don't have permission to be on there.
Right,
we're-
because if we don't, if
you'd
we
have
don't
to,
have an
we'd have to,
easement.
we'd have to have an easement before we sell the tomahawk, the restaurant part of it. That easement, your sewage goes through there. We'd have to put some kind of easement in that contract with them, because the sewage comes from, there's one emulsifier right there behind the house. It comes over and then goes into a tank behind the house, and gets emulsified for the second time, and then shoots over to you. So we'd have to have some kind of easement through them to run the sewage, which would probably be okay, because, they're pretty nice people that are interested in the restaurant, and I think that it would be okay with them.
Yeah, well, my concern is with state agencies.
Yeah, but that would have to be okay on state agency,
Yeah.
because that's already, they weren't even happy with the water line running into, so I don't know what they would say.
Okay. Well, we'll work on getting the rest of that problem. We're gonna have to discuss it and
Yep.
find out where we're at. We will keep in touch with you and, we'll, figure out something, try to get it figured out before the end of June. And I'll have, Hope kind of look over that,
I've been
everything.
dealing with them now for 5-6 years. Cease and desist orders, every time I turn around, it's like, I guess I can
So
do
we're gonna
another
have
another
Hope
month or two.
look into
Yeah,
some of the stuff that's,
well,
Dealing
anything,
with the
all the
DEQ.
legal stuff, yeah.
Well, see, the DEQ is dealing with them, on what they're doing on their property, is my understanding. Right?
We can't have we can't have a commercial building over 15 people.
Okay.
But that doesn't have anything to do with the city. Right?
The city's
No,
responsible
because
for.
they're saying that even though we've got a new sewer system in, it was never applied for additional people. Say the old system could take care of 100 people. They never applied for 200 people because of the new system, so they were still operating on
And
the old.
since that order of consent thing that they put on you in 2008, you guys have never gotten back with them, updated with them, or do whatever you had to do with them.
It's never been done.
so whose responsibility is that?
Well, this
Ours.
order of
That's-
consent has to do with the whole system.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But see, with the new sewer system, we were supposed to be upgraded.
Yep.
That was never upgraded. So they're saying, telling her that she's not allowed to have over 15 people in her business because,
So was that, did that have to do with the resolution 453?
that's what they're telling her, that she can't have 25 people there because the city's
System
system can't handle it.
This new system can't handle it?
Yeah, they never upgraded it, never sent in the upgrades on
So
it.
they never send any paperwork to them that they need to verify that it's,
Right.
because I was gonna say this goes well and above what the city
Yeah,
town.
well, I know it
does.
does.
Yeah.
But they never did get it sent in. So now the DEQ
We
saying it's
passed a
still
res,
this.
yeah, we
But
passed a resolution. We passed a
need you to handle my
resolution
DEQ issues. I mean, that's
Yeah.
me, and I'm dealing with that. I hired an
Yeah.
engineer. I'm dealing with all my own issues. The only thing I'm asking for is for you to get me some kind of easement so I can get my sewage over to you without a holding tank. And the other thing is we have to separate that and everything else. And I will deal with the rest in DEQ and all my issues.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to do any of that for me.
What would help, Sue, if you write down what you need from the town?
Yeah, checklist, like if, even if the
You know.
engineer can read.
In a letter.
So.
Yeah,
You
that's,
can
that's,
start picking
Yeah,
those
we need-
things off.
Something to
Precisely.
go.
yeah,
Some steps.
that's
So
just,
many things.
I don't,
We gotta get them down so we can start prioritizing them and.
the only thing I want is a sewer line
Important.
and,
The water
And
system.
water.
and, water brought to my curb stops, 2 curb stops and a sewer line, that's all I want. Sounds pretty simple to me, but.
And that is to the house.
No, the curb stops are together. The way he put them in, they're all together. One of the lines runs to the house, the other line runs to the restaurant. They have to be separated.
Right. And they were never connected.
No.
Okay.
The water line is up on Harley. and they just run some kind of line down here that comes into the business, and, you know, right now, you know, the accountant is like, well, how do you know how much the house is using, how much the business is using, what part of that is the water bill, you know, you can't justify it anyway. And she's like, you have to be able to justify it.
That's why they set up 2 curb stops,
See, when Elba put that in, they just put in one water line,
right?
and they put the meter clear out on Harley. And he paid probably for the water line to his place. Now, when Sue had him come in, Mike cut into that water line to go to the house, that's where he put a curb stop. He put another one right there to go into the house. He basically just split the line that's been there for 20, 30 years, is what he did. What she wants is just to put a meter there so that there's a meter to the
Separate
house.
meter
So
for the
that
house.
meter
To the barn.
There's 3 things right in front of the building where he
Yeah,
put
there's
those
3 of them
things in.
there.
They're right in a row. So you need the meters.
There's one
I
for-
paid for the 1 meter that's down in Harley, I'll be happy to pay for another meter that's gonna go at this place, for the house.
So you put a meter
Okay,
in
but
for the
that's-
house, a
that's
meter for the
different from
cabins,
running a
meter
whole
for
new
the
line
business.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yes.
so if you need a meter, that's gonna be considerably different from running a whole new line in, right?
Yeah, 'cause
Well, you take over that line that's already there.
Yeah.
Hope.
Line's running in there.
You got a line coming there, just take it over, make it a main instead of a service. Right now, it's a service. You can turn it into a main, city main, then you're responsible for it. But you gotta get an easement from the state to do that. And I'm sure you could get one, because it's been in there for, Christ, what, 20 years, close to it?
Okay.
The engineer isn't gonna let you run your house and the business off the same water line.
See, she tried to talk to, what's his name, what attorney that owns that land there?
John Ross.
John Ross. They could cut a water line right across the lower part of that pasture, or that orchard, and it'd be perfect. The
Yeah.
water main goes right down that alley, and around that side of the street. He will not give an easement.
We offered him money on how many times
He
and
won't do
offered
it.
to buy.
Now, I don't know how it works. I know in the pipeline business, you can get a right of eminent domain and condemn that land and put in your water line.
That's very difficult.
I know, it's difficult, but it can be done.
I think
We've
it might be
done a
easier
lot of-
dealing with the state
Yeah, I think so
than
too.
than eminent
Pipeline
domain.
maybe, but not probably just for a water.
Anything, it's a right of eminent domain, it's anything like that. The state, this town, anybody can do that.
I'll tell you what,
I know, I've done them, I've been there.
you might have done it
30 years.
30 years ago, but
Yeah.
anymore?
Well, no, it's been a long time since we did it.
But I mean, I don't know.
So we'll hope we look, see what we gotta do to change this from
Well, I don't
service
know
to a
what-
main.
What you're asking for.
Well, actually,
I
what we
don't-
need to do is make sure that the annex, everything is filed
I
and
will
legal.
first of all check the annexation issue.
Right.
And what we need to
And
do,
take
get
care
the
of
easement
that.
back from the state.
Or to
And then
establish
we'll-
an easement
yeah.
with the state.
Yeah.
And we'll have to establish an easement with the state, plus we're gonna have to figure out where we need to, and we're gonna have somebody come and look and see where we're gonna tap into